Hey guys, it's Miss Cuban here. So your Unit 1 exam is tomorrow, and so we've been doing review. We've been learning about squares and square roots, rational, irrational numbers, classifying real numbers, ordering real numbers, scientific notation, and mean absolute deviation. So we've learned that. We've been doing our study guide since Monday for about 2.5 days now. And today we did a game in class. So your game, I made it where you can do it at home. It is on Google Classroom. If you want to log into Google Classroom, the game is there. You can open it up. And if you can't get into Google Classroom, I also made another code right here in this video, so you can play the game along with us. This video, I'm basically taking every question that's in that game, and I'm going to show you how to solve every single one. So if there's any, if I'm going too fast, please stop the video, rewind, rewatch it, and see if that helps, because I'm going to try to go through every single question. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Number one. A square serving platter has an area of 124 inches squared. Which is the best estimate of one side length of the platter? So the key thing we need to know is one side length and a square. So I'm going to draw myself a square, and I know the area is 124. Well, one thing I know about squares is that if all the sides of a square are equal. So if I take, let's say this side is x, because I don't know what x is, I don't know the side length. I know that x is the same side length as every single thing. So for area of a square, we always say it's base times height. Okay, area is x times x. X is my base, x is my height. Well, I also know in this problem the area is 124. So I'm asking myself, what times itself is 124? I also know that when I multiply something by itself, that is the same as an exponent, x squared. And the inverse operation to go backwards is to do what we call using a square root. I need to do the square root to do the inverse. So the square root gets rid of the exponent and leaves it as x. And the square root of 124 is 11.1355. So I look at my answer choices and I have 11.1. That is my answer. Okay, so a square, anytime you hear the word square, keep in mind about square roots. That's one thing that goes together. Okay, off to number two. Which is the correct classification of the value 7 pi? 7 times pi. So I know in my big world of real numbers, when we went back in class, we were talking about this is our entire country. This is all of our friends at camp. And our friends in camp are separated into people from the same state and people out of state. So the same state would be called rational, and out of state would be called irrational. Then we talked about when you're in state, in the state of Texas, we have students from camp that was in our same school, or city, sorry, erase, same school, city. Then you had some that was in the same school, all the way to the same class. Well, the city would be our integers, because integers are rational, but not all rational are integers. And our school would be our whole numbers, which are our positive integers, and the integers are the negative. These are our negatives, these are our positives. But then our class is what we call our natural numbers, the numbers that we first learned when we were itty-bitty babies. First numbers people count, 1, 2, 3. So that would be all your positive whole numbers, except of 0. So when I'm looking at 7 pi, I know that pi is a number that never stops. If I type it in my calculator, I get pi is equal to 3.14159, and it keeps going. It doesn't repeat. And since it keeps going, it cannot be written as a fraction. Only numbers that can be written as a fraction are rational. So that means pi is irrational. No matter what number I multiply by pi, it's still going to be irrational. So any answer choice that's not irrational, I'm eliminating. The next thing I got to look is an irrational number also in the integer circle? No. So that's wrong. It's only in the real number diagram. Okay. So, let's try number 3. Which of the following could be the missing value? Now, in class, I said it was kind of hard for me to type a mixed number, so I kind of separated it for you. So 5 and 1/25 is that rewritten version. But what you notice is they already have them in order. You're just missing some number. So what I need to really find out is what is the decimal value of 2.4 or 2 4/10 squared. And when I type that in my calculator, I get 5 76/100. So I'm looking for a number between 5 1/10 and 5 76/100. So to figure this out, I'm going to type all my answer choices in the calculator, and I'm going to see what their decimal equivalents are. So I'm going to type second square root 26, enter, and I get square root of 26 equals 5 99 thousandths. Well, 0 is less than 1, so that's wrong. Okay, let's keep typing. And I get square root of 35 equals 5 916 thousandths, which is bigger than what we are. Okay, so now let me look at this. I did 2 of them. Well, 29 is between 26 and 35. And we're looking for something in between, so that's possibility. But if I look at the square root of 40, 40 is after 35. That only means that the number is going to be larger, and I don't want something larger. So my answer is going to be square root of 29. And when I type that in my calculator, I get 5 385 thousandths, which 3 is between 1 and 7. Okay. Let's go on to the next one. Which statement below is true about irrational numbers? Okay, so we're talking about irrational numbers. So if you remember the previous question, about 2 questions ago, we were looking at irrational numbers, and irrational are not the same as rational. Okay, they are real, but they're on its own little space in the world. So when I come back to this problem, what is true? is that some irrationals are natural. But I thought they're on its own world. So that's wrong. The square root of every non-perfect square. Okay, so perfect squares is that 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9. So it's saying the square root of every non-perfect square will be irrational. Okay, so non-perfect would be maybe square root of 3. Well, square root of 3 is a decimal that never ends. So this could really be a good true statement. So I'm going to keep reading. Irrational numbers include decimals with repeating pattern. Well, repeating means 0.3 with a bar. That repeating is a bar. What that means is the number doesn't stop. Now, that is rational because it is equal to 1/3, and all fractions are rational. So this one is false. Irrational numbers will never be real. Wait a second. I thought 2 questions ago we said irrational are real. That's false. So that brings us, this one's the only correct answer. Okay. So I'm going to hit next. Which has a value greater than 600 but less than 6,000? Okay. Scientific notation. Remember, with scientific notation, the numbers is greater is on the right, which is positive. The numbers less than are negative. So if our exponent is positive, we move to the right. If our exponent is negative, we move to the left. So I have 6.1, and I'm going to go to the right 3 places. 1, 2, 3. So that means this answer A is 6,100. But it's not less than 6,000, so that one's false. Let's try another one. 5 26/100ths, but the 3 is my exponent. 1, 2, 3. So that's equal to 5,260. Well, 5,000 is less than 6,000. Check. It's greater than 600. Check. So this could be a good possible answer. So I'm going to keep looking. 5 9/10, but I move it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoa, wait a second. That's 59,000. That's definitely greater than 6,000, so that's wrong. And then I have 7 87/100ths. So I'm going to move it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. I think this is no good. 7,000 is greater than 6,000. So that must only mean this is my answer. Okay. Let's look at number 5. We're halfway there. Find the mean and the mean absolute deviation of the 5 daily grades that Jonathan received last week in his English class. So mean. Mean. Oh. So my mean is my average. That's the same thing as average. An average is when you add all the numbers together and then you divide it by the number of values. So, my number of values, I have 5 days, so I'm going to divide it by 5, and I'm going to add them up. This is where I go to my handy dandy calculator, and I'm going to add 92 plus 100 plus 81 plus 94 plus 88, and I get 455. So I know I now need to divide 455 divide by 5, and my mean, only my mean, is 91. So that can eliminate the first answer choice. It can eliminate the second answer choice. It can eliminate the last one. So the only one available must be our answer. But I want to make sure, so I'm going to find my my distances. So for my distances, I'm going to rewrite, so 92, and I want to find the distance from 92 to 91. So 92 minus 91 is 1. Then 100 minus 91 is 9. 81 minus 91, or 91 minus 81, but I'm looking for the absolute value. That's 10. 94 minus 91 is 3. I'm looking for my distances in between. So, in fact, I know this is kind of bugging some people, so I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. 91 minus 81. And then my Friday is 91 minus 88, which is 3. So now I add those together, and I get 26, and I divide it by 5, and that gives me 5 2/10. That is my mean absolute deviation. There's my answer. Never choose the answer with the 91 as your mean. That's your mean, not your mad. They're two separate things. Okay, question number 6. Or 7, question 7. Which of the following shows a list of values in decreasing order? That's going down. So I need to make them all decimals. So I'm at -6 7/1000. I need to type -2 pi in my calculator. So I'm going to type that in. -2 control. Oh wait, not -2 pi. Enter. And I get -6 283,000. And then I have negative square root 48. So a negative, control, square root, 48, enter, -6 928,000. Now that they're all decimals, I can order. I'm looking for the largest number to the smallest. So one thing I know is that these are all negatives. So if they're all negatives, then my largest number would actually look like the smallest. It'd be the one closest to 0. So on a number line, if I have 6 and I have 7, the one that's largest is going to be closer to 6. The smallest will be closest to 7. So I want to start with the largest. So which one's closest to 6? That is going to be 6 and 007 thousandths. So that's going to be the largest one. So I can eliminate any answer choice that's not large. Boom and boom. Next, I'm going to look for the smallest number, which is closer to 7. So that would be negative square root 48. That's going to be the smallest. So that's negative square root 48, which is here. So large, small, and the 2 pi is in the middle. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Number 8. Which has the same value as 3 and 652 thousandths with 10 to the negative 4. Remember our number line to help us. If it's negative, we're going to go to the left. So I'm going to go to the left 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Put little circles in my holes, and that's my answer. So I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 6, 5, 2. So that's a check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. Hold on, those are too big. So that gives me, this is my answer. Okay, question number 9. A set of values have a mean absolute deviation of 1.8. So remember, you have your mean, then you find your distance, then you find your mean again of the distance. So if I'm looking for mean absolute deviation, that means my 1.8 is way over here. That means the average of my distance from my mean is 1.8. It does not mean the smallest value is 1.8. That's not what it means. It also does not mean the average of the set of values is small. No. Distance is the difference. No, this is range. That's not range. It's the average distance that each point is from the mean. That's what that is. And that's just vocabulary. This problem is just vocabulary. Last question. Which of the values is descending order? Descending order. So for this, I need to make them all decimals. So square root 170, 5 square root 8, 40 thirds, 14 and 25 hundredths. And I'm going to type them in my calculator exactly the way I see it. So I'm going to hit Control, square root, 170. That's 13.038. 5 square root 8. 14.142. Can make my fraction 40 thirds. Control Enter makes it a decimal. And then I already have a decimal at the end. Now remember, I want to go from the largest to the smallest. So my largest is 14. And then I look and I see a 1 and a 0. 1 is larger. So this is the largest. And that means this one is number 2. So right now we have 5 square root 8. We have 14.025. So that takes away there. And it takes away there. Then I see 13, but I have a 0 and a 3. That means this is 3, and this is my smallest. So 40 over 3, and then square root 170. That takes us to this as our answer. Okay, guys. That is just how we did everything in class today. Go back, rewatch anything you're still struggling on. Try it again. Study. But get a good night's sleep, guys. I believe in y'all. And good luck tomorrow. Oh, and if you watched this video for extra credit on your test tomorrow, I would like you to tell me the time on this video on tomorrow's test. Write down the time on your test and you get 10 extra credit points. And the time on this video is, I'm going to end it right about now, which is 27 minutes and 55 seconds. Enjoy!